Hello, and welcome to Retro Rewind for the week of June 22nd. Can you remember what year these classics released? Stick around until the end to find out. Let's kick things off with Sonic the Hedgehog, which launched on the Sega Genesis on June 23rd. Sonic wasn't just a cool character. He was Sega's answer to Mario. Born from a need to create a mascot with attitude, speed, and a visual identity that screamed early 90s. Designed by Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima, Sonic was all about fast-paced platforming, loop-the-loops, and bouncing off robotic bad guys. It was also Sega's showcase for blast processing, a marketing term that meant, well, not much, but it sounded cool. I'll always remember my mom shouting down to me in the basement asking who I was talking to. I was talking to Sonic, of course, telling him to run faster and make sure he saves those animals. But I was a bit of a weird kid. Sonic the Hedgehog still holds up today, especially with modern ports that preserve the speed and charm while cleaning up the visuals. And speaking of game-changing moments, how about the release of the Nintendo 64 in Japan on June 23rd? I'll never forget my 12th birthday. All of my friends came over and we rented the brand new Nintendo 64 console, and we all played it on my buddy's Commodore 64 monitor. Oh, the good old days. This wasn't just another console launch. It was Nintendo's dramatic leap into 3D gaming. With its quirky three-pronged controller and an analog stick built for precision movement, the N64 was a playground for experimentation. Sure, it stuck with cartridges over CDs, which meant less space for fancy cutscenes, but it also meant lightning-fast load times. It introduced split-screen multiplayer as a household staple and paved the way for some of the most influential games ever made. GoldenEye, Mario Kart 64, and Ocarina of Time all owe their legacy to this classic console. Its graphics may look dated now, but the fun is still fully intact, especially when you bust out 4 controllers and load up some Mario Party chaos or just one more run in Blast Corps. Launching alongside the N64 was Super Mario 64.
It's me, Mario!
And honestly, this game could have carried the console all by itself. It was Nintendo's risky attempt to move Mario into 3D, and it paid off big. For the first time ever, players could run, jump, dive, and wall kick through fully rendered worlds with a freedom that felt revolutionary. The controls were buttery smooth, the environments varied and clever, and Peach's castle served as a brilliant hub world that made exploration feel organic. Replaying levels as the world changes after you collected stars was a genius concept that made the game so much more satisfying. The game laid the foundation for 3D platformers that followed, and honestly, some modern games still haven't caught up. I'll never forget scaling that first mountain and battling that giant big bomb. Over 2 decades later, it still plays like a dream. And thanks to the re-releases on Switch and emulators, a new generation is getting to experience one of gaming's true masterpieces. Jumping ahead a few years to the GameCube, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem did something no other horror game dared to do. It messed with you, the player, not just through jump scares or creepy music, but by actually breaking the fourth wall. The game features a sanity meter that, when lowered, causes your character and your game to go completely haywire. The screen might mute itself. A fake message might pop up saying your controller is unplugged. One memorable moment is when a fake blue screen of death that convinced many players their GameCube had crashed appears on the screen. Developed by Silicon Knights and published by Nintendo, this was one of the first M-rated titles on a Nintendo console. It told a cosmic horror story across multiple time periods, weaving together ancient gods, Roman centurions, and modern-day mystery. While its visuals are dated by today's standards, the innovative mechanics and eerie atmosphere make it one of the most unique horror games ever made. It's begging for a remake, or at least a spiritual successor that doesn't get cancelled before it releases. Now let's go way back to a game that helped push JRPGs into a new era. Lunar, the Silver Star, released on Sega CD. It was a revolution for fans of the genre. It featured full voice acting, animated cutscenes, and a surprisingly emotional story about adventure, love, and destiny. The Sega CD's expanded storage allowed the developers at Game Arts to add depth and flair that just wasn't possible on cartridges. The North American version, localized by Working Designs, added a ton of personality with snappy dialogue and humorous lines that give the game a unique Western flair. Lunar's music is still a standout, and the game's charm lies in heartwarming characters and fairy tale tone. While its battle system and mechanics may feel simple compared to modern RPGs, the storytelling and presentation were ahead of their time. Multiple remakes over the years prove it has staying power, and it is still beloved by fans who crave old-school RPG magic. Don't forget to check out the recently released remastered versions of Lunar 1 and 2 for just about every console available. PC gamers got a twisted treat with Dungeon Keeper, developed by Bullfrog Productions and led by the ever-ambitious Peter Molyneux. Bullfrog? Does anybody remember Theme Park? Man, that game was awesome too. This game flipped the traditional fantasy formula on its head. You weren't the hero saving the world, you were the evil overlord building a dungeon, hiring monsters, and fending off pesky heroes. You'd dig out rooms, slap minions into obedience, and unleash hell when adventurers came knocking. The game blended real-time strategy, management sim, and dark humor into one devilishly clever package. Its UI was ahead of its time, and its mix of strategy and chaos made it addictive. Critics praised its originality, and fans still revisit it today through fan projects like Keeper FX. While the graphics are blocky by today's standards, the gameplay loop is as entertaining as ever. Dungeon Keeper doesn't just hold up, it still stands as one of the best examples of genre subversion in gaming. Now, let's drop some bombs. Literally. With Bomberman II released for the NES. While the first game introduced the core concept, Bomberman II was one that added the good stuff. Multiplayer support, tournament mode, and a deeper challenge for solo players. At its core, it's simple. You drop bombs to trap and defeat enemies in a grid-based maze, but the tension and strategy of timing, power-ups, and positioning is timeless. The NES version may not have had flashy visuals, but it nailed the gameplay, and that's what counts. Plus, Bomberman's character design, with his oversized head and tiny body, became a staple in Hudson Soft's lineup. Does Bomberman 2 still hold up? You bet. The formula is so strong that modern Bomberman games have really changed very little because they didn't need to. And finally, we close with a monster of a title. Diablo II, released on PC on June 29th. This wasn't just a sequel. It was the action RPG that set the standard. Developed by Blizzard North, Diablo II featured sprawling randomized dungeons, 5 diverse classes, with 2 more added in the Lord of Destruction expansion, and that addictive loot grind that could consume hours of your life. Battle.net support made online multiplayer seamless for its time, and the dark, gothic aesthetic gave it a gritty edge that few games matched. It was atmospheric, intense, and endlessly replayable. This game literally got me through high school. Thanks, Blizzard. The recent Diablo II Resurrected brought it back to life with remastered visuals while keeping the gameplay nearly untouched, a testament to how well it holds up. Whether you're chasing runes, socketing gear, or hunting for high-tier loot, Diablo II still knows how to get its claws into you. And that's a wrap for this week in Retro Rewind. From hedgehogs and heroes to dungeons and demons, these games helped shape generations. Did you get the years right? How old were you when you played these games? Let me know in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss next week's journey into gaming history.